I need to say this out of the gate because I feel guilty about even doing this monologue. I do. Um, Laken Riley, who was killed allegedly by Jose Ibarra, and they like you to say allegedly. He's been charged with the crime. She's somebody's daughter. She is someone's grandchild. She's someone's niece. She's someone's friend. And her family should be allowed to mourn her without her being a political prop. They should just be allowed to be left alone. No one should force them to opine on the situation or put cameras in their face. She has been murdered, and it's just sick to turn this into a political story. It is. It is also relevant to the conversations of the day, unfortunately. I don't actually like to go down the road like this. She should just, her family be left alone, honor her memory, and pray for the family. But it is a confluence of failed policies that took her life as much as the man who did so. Jose Ibarra is an illegal immigrant. He crossed the border in 2022 at El Paso, Texas. He was put on a bus. He went to New York City. In New York City, in Queens, he assaulted a minor, and he was not prosecuted. He could have been prosecuted then and deported, but the progressive prosecutors in New York City, they don't like to prosecute or illegal aliens because they don't want to get them deported. It's a policy choice by progressive prosecutors. Ultimately, Jose Ibarra made his way to Athens, Georgia, and there is a particular sickness in the American press corps that they've refused to identify him as an illegal alien. They refer to him as an Athens resident. He resided in Athens, Georgia, but he's not an American citizen. He's a Venezuelan, and he's an illegal alien. And it is just incredible to me. The New York Times, CNN, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Associated Press, major media outlets around the country and locally just flat out refuse to call him an illegal alien. Only the Red and Black at the University of Georgia seems to want to actually say the policy issue here that he is an illegal alien. He should not have been here. Not only that, Deborah Gonzalez is the district attorney in Athens, Clarke County. She had been a progressive member of the state legislature, and she got elected a DA. It was a very messy race, and I'm telling you guys, someone should qualify against her. She's on the ballot this year. Houston Gaines is the member of the state Senate who replaced Deborah Gonzalez. He's a Republican. She was a Democrat. He put this on social media. The suspect is in the country illegally. He was arrested in Queens in September 2023 for injury to a child and not having a license. He and his brother were cited in Athens, Clarke County in October of 2023 for shoplifting. He had an outstanding bench warrant in Athens, Clarke County for failing to appear in the shoplifting charges. His brother was charged on the same day he was arrested for possessing a fraudulent green card. The suspect's brother was arrested in September of 2023 for DUI, driving without a license, speeding, open container, and failure to yield to an emergency vehicle. He was arrested again in December. In 2019, the progressives who run the Athens-Clarke County Commission declared Athens-Clarke County a sanctuary county. All people, including those without documentation, feel welcome and comfortable interacting with local law enforcement, their local government, and all services provided as such. Undocumented neighbors, especially those of Latinx, the white guys in Athens, Clarke County use Latinx heritage, face daily fears and threats from individuals and institutions such as ICE. Deborah Gonzalez was elected in 2020. On her first day in office, she announced she would, quote, take into account collateral consequences to undocumented defendants before deciding whether or not to charge them. To put in perspective, Deborah Gonzalez, the Clarke County DA, should have 17 assistant district attorneys on her payroll. She has 3. She claims it's about pay. They pay well there. They've increased pay. She still can't hire them because nobody wants to work with her. According to one of the Atlanta media outlets, last year she dismissed 46% of cases that were headed to court. 46% of prosecutions were dismissed. And hundreds of felony cases were reduced to misdemeanors. She has lost 14 straight murder trials. That's the district attorney in Athens, Clarke County. Sadly, the people of Oconee County, next door to Clarke County, are joined in this Western Judicial Circuit. They're stuck with this DA. Laken Riley should be alive. Had Joe Biden done his job and secured the border, she'd be alive. Had the progressive prosecutors in New York City done their job, she'd be alive. Had the prosecutors in Clarke County, Georgia done their job, she'd be alive. Had the county commissioners of Athens, Clarke County not made themselves a sanctuary city, she'd probably be alive. Laken Riley's death is at the hands of a man, Jose Ibarra. But Jose Ibarra was able to kill Laken Riley because of the progressive policies Democrats have put in place. That's a fact. It's an inconvenient fact. It's when the Democrats are going to raise holy hell when we point it out. They're going to scream like stuck pigs when you point out that Deborah Gonzalez's actions as the district attorney in Clarke County led to this murder, that the Athens Clarke County Commission's actions led to this murder, that the district attorney in New York's actions led to this murder, that President Biden's actions led to this murder. It is all something conservatives have warned about, and these same progressives have screamed racism every time we've pointed it out. This girl is dead because of the failures of progressive policies. You know what's so extraordinary here is the progressive response is that no, she's dead because of Jose Ibarra, and they're right. And yet when conservatives point this out, when there's a shooter, that it's that person's responsibility, no, it's all the policies. It's the gun policies. Notice how they don't want to accept it when it comes to immigration. Except the problem is gun policies in this country, we have a Second Amendment. Immigration policies, we should have a secure border, and the president and the Democrats have chosen not to do it. And it is the Athens Clarke County Commission that chose not to comply with laws regarding immigration. They're the ones who voted for this. And so those of you in Clarke County, Georgia, where I am on the radio right now live, I want you to know that you put into power the people who put in place the policies that led to this murder. The voters of Athens, Clarke County voted for these people. And the consequences of their votes is lawlessness. Deborah Gonzalez has chosen repeatedly not to enforce the law and prosecute people. The county has provided shelter to people who broke the law crossing into this country. There are a large number of students at the University of Georgia in Clarke County. In 1980, Republican students at the University of Georgia organized, and they were able to get that county to go for Ronald Reagan. if the students at the University of Georgia organize, they can beat Deborah Gonzalez. They might want to consider their power if they organize against someone like Deborah Gonzalez, the district attorney, who's lost 14 murder cases in a row, who can't hire competent assistant district attorneys, and has turned a blind eye and given laxity to law enforcement of illegal aliens in this country because she's afraid the mean old federal government will deport them. The girl is dead. And the media can't come to terms with it either. The Associated Press, I'm not making this up. The Associated Press's coverage of this is that maybe girls should not run by themselves. She was out for a jog. It's kind of wild, actually, that the Associated Press's take on this is that maybe, just maybe, women need to be cautious running alone. So much for equal rights out there. So much for equal rights. The sense of peace was shattered after authorities on Thursday found the body of Laken Hope Riley, an arrested Athens resident. Notice the phrase Athens resident. Jose Antonio Ibarra, 26, on suspicion of murder. The victim and suspect did not know each other. Riley's death has once again put the spotlight on the dangers female runners face. Previously, the 2018 death of University of Iowa student Molly Tibbetts while out jogging prompted an outpouring from other women who shared the tales of being harassed while running. Remarkable. They would rather do a cautionary tale, the Associated Press, of women out running alone than to deal with the policy failures. And the reason is because the American media used to call itself the Fourth Estate, and they would hold the other three branches of government accountable, or the fourth branch of government. They would hold the other three accountable. And now the media, the national media, is so embedded within the Democratic Party that they must protect the power structure of the government when the Democrats are in charge. They have to tell a narrative that leaves out the fact that Jose Ibarra is an illegal alien because it's a damning indictment on President Biden's border policies and progressive prosecutors' policies in counties who refuse to enforce the law. It's a damning indictment of the Athens-Clarke County government that decided, quote, undocumented neighbors, especially those of Latinx heritage, face daily fears and threats from individuals and institutions such as ICE. The Athens-Clarke County government is more concerned about the daily fears and threats from individuals and institutions such as ICE towards Latinx illegal aliens than they are to college students at the University of Georgia, a core constituency that actually votes. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution is still today, multiple days later, referring to Jose Ibarra as an Athens resident who's not a U.S. citizen, but his immigration status as of yet has not been confirmed. Of course, the Biden administration is dragging out confirmation of his immigration status because they're in damage control. The New York Times, CNN, they're all treating him as an Athens resident. Athens resident. A curious phrase, Athens resident. He's an illegal alien. The national media doesn't want to tell you this because that fact, that truth, is too disruptive of the narrative that Joe Biden and the Democrats wish to advance. And now a college student is dead. Her parents should be able to and allowed to mourn her without the political implications. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we do have to point out that it was progressive failures at the border, progressive failures in New York City, and progressive failures in the Athens-Clarke County Commission, and progressive failures in the Athens District Attorney's Office that led to this death. Yes, a man is responsible for murdering Laken Riley, but he was enabled along the way by a bunch of Democrats, and that may be crass politics, but it's also the God's honest truth Democrats would prefer you not talk about.